Hello, Libra. Let me ask you this: what if today is the day everything changes? What if this video found you right now because the universe is finally aligning to shift your money, your mindset, and your momentum all at once? You didn't stumble upon this by accident. You were guided here. This is your deep dive horoscope reading for June 28, 2025. And something powerful is unfolding beneath the surface. Whether you believe in divine timing, cosmic nudges, or just your own intuition, you're here for a reason. So take a breath, open your energy and stay close. Right now, the celestial tides are moving in your favor. The moon is activating your hunger for purpose, and Venus, your ruling planet, is quietly pulling strings behind the scenes to restore balance, harmony, and abundance. You may not see it yet, but what's ahead could change the way you think about opportunity forever. Now, Libra, I know you. You take your time. You weigh the facts. You pause before you leap. But let me be honest, the pause has lasted long enough. This is not a message of pressure. It's a message of permission. Permission to say yes to your own value. Permission to receive what you've been giving so freely to others. Permission to finally stop waiting. And maybe, just maybe, you're already seeing signs. Have you been noticing the number 28 lately? Maybe it shows up on receipts, clocks, license plates. In numerology, 28 means the result of persistent balance, the reward after long hesitation. So here's your moment. What if this reading brings you the very clarity you've been praying for? What if there's a divine code hidden in this message just for you? Stay open, because today we'll explore more than just your financial energy. We'll uncover what's rising in your career path, your inner world, and the way you show up in your relationships, especially the one you have with your own self-worth. Let me take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your presence here today. Every like, every comment, every shared subscription connects you deeper with the soul of this channel, Zodiac Whisper Tarot. And believe me, your energy is what fuels this space and allows us to continue delivering these life-shifting insights straight to your spirit. So don't go anywhere just yet, Libra. Because what the universe is about to reveal today is nothing short of breathtaking. Let me know in the comments what called you here today. What's been tugging at your spirit lately? Was it the timing? A feeling in your gut? Or something you can't quite explain? Whatever it was, you're in the right place. Now, let's go deeper, because what's coming for you next will change everything. Sometimes, without even realizing it, we carry the belief that we have to earn every good thing in our lives through struggle. But Libra, there are moments when the universe gently whispers, "You've already done enough. Now it's time to receive." And that's exactly the kind of moment you're standing in right now. When we talk about receiving, it's not just about money or rewards, it's about alignment. It's about being so in tune with your own value that the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The Six of Pentacles speaks to this sacred balance. You've given, you've supported, you've shown up for others, and now the scales tip in your favor. There's generosity coming toward you, perhaps in a form you least expect, an unexpected offer, a financial gift, or even a door opening where there once was a wall. This energy is amplified by the Justice card, the signature archetype of Libra itself. It represents more than fairness, it's the energetic proof that what is yours will not pass you. If you've been feeling like things have been out of sync, that your efforts haven't matched your results, you're not imagining it. But justice is not delayed, it's precise. And sometimes, when things take longer, it's not because you're behind, it's because the reward being prepared is greater than what you would have settled for. You are being asked to receive this next chapter with clarity. And that's why the Queen of Swords appears now not as a warning, but as a guide. Her sword isn't used to fight, it's used to cut through confusion. After a time of uncertainty, you're finally seeing the shape of what's been forming. She invites you to release emotional fog and see things as they are, opportunities, not obstacles. Astrologically, the moon in Sagittarius on June 28th adds a fire to your thoughts. It nudges you to see the bigger picture, not just the bills on your desk or the delayed plans, but the long path of growth you've been walking. This is not the end of the road. It's the beginning of a wide new one. Sagittarius energy invites you to open your mind, dream bigger, and expand your professional vision. What once felt risky may now feel like the only logical next step. And Venus, your ruling planet, is on your side. She softens the edges and brings beauty and grace back into places that felt dry or distant. Her presence can bring help from others, a mentor, a client, or even a friend who sees your worth when you're struggling to feel it. Sometimes blessings don't come as miracles, they come as reminders, as gentle support, as a quiet hand reaching back to lift you forward. In numerology, this day holds the vibration of 6, a number of harmony and healing. It reminds you that receiving is also an act of love, not just for others, but for yourself. The 9 signals a release old mindsets, outdated stories, or self-doubt that's run its course. And the 28? It's a portal. A bridge. A moment when all that has been planted finally begins to bear fruit. The energy of 28 is not random, it's accumulated momentum. It's the universe saying, here. This is the outcome of your inner work. So if you feel unworthy of good things, let that go today. If you've hesitated to say yes to what you know is rightfully yours, give yourself permission. You don't have to fight anymore. You don't have to prove anything. You are ready. And what's coming isn't a reward for perfection, it's the return of what you've already sent out, multiplied by grace. As a quiet voice of wisdom might say sometimes, the door doesn't open because we're not yet standing in front of it. But today, Libra, you are. All that's left is to knock, or maybe just walk right in. It's interesting how hesitation can feel deceptively safe. When you're suspended between 2 options, not choosing, not moving, it can feel like control. But in truth, indecision quietly drains your energy, clutters your clarity, and delays the abundance that's already trying to make its way to you. And for Libra, the sign of the scales, this dance between options can become a long, exhausting performance. You want to be fair. You want to consider all sides. You want the timing to be just right. But what if today is the right time, and the only thing standing in the way is the idea that you're not ready? The 2 of Pentacles appears as a gentle nudge, a reflection of the internal juggling act between responsibility and desire, logic and intuition, comfort and expansion. You may find yourself revisiting the same choices over and over, afraid to lose stability by choosing one direction. But in that constant weighing, you risk losing momentum, and with it, the very magic that comes from commitment. Then comes the 8 of Swords, a card that doesn't speak of outer limitation, but inner belief. The kind of belief that says, I can't do this. What if I fail? What if I pick the wrong path? But here's the truth, you are not truly trapped. The ropes around you are made of outdated thoughts. And your eyes? They're only blindfolded because you're still trying to predict every outcome before taking the first step. This card asks you to gently, lovingly challenge your mental narrative. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or holding me hostage? And then, quietly in the background, the High Priestess waits. She is not loud. She doesn't shout. She whispers. She taps into that place in you that already knows the answer but maybe doesn't yet trust it. This is the voice that nudges you to explore the idea that your feelings aren't random, that your desires aren't foolish, and that your sense of timing might actually be divine. But to hear her, you must pause not in fear, but in listening. You must be willing to trust without proof, to lean into the discomfort of the unknown. If you're feeling blocked financially or stuck in your professional growth, this trio of cards is not a punishment, it's a loving mirror. It's saying, you're not behind. You're simply being shown what it feels like to wait too long to claim what's already yours. And maybe that's the real discomfort, not failure, but the weight of unused potential. One piece of grounded advice that aligns beautifully with this message is this: your inner wisdom will always lead you in the right direction when you get quiet enough to hear it. You don't need to figure everything out in one day. You just need to be honest about what's been keeping you frozen. Write it down. Name the fear. Get it out of your head and onto paper. And then, just beneath it, write what you actually want, not what's safe, not what looks good, but what feels true. Even if it scares you. There's a quiet principle that says, sometimes we wait for the world to give us permission. But in reality, it's when we grant that permission to ourselves that doors begin to open. You don't have to be 100% certain. You only need to be willing. Willing to try. Willing to learn. Willing to choose even when both options feel uncertain. And if you're still unsure, let this be your reminder: abundance rarely walks through a door that's closed in hesitation. It knocks on the door of readiness. Even just a crack is enough. So maybe the question today isn't, what should I do? But rather, what part of me already knows and is just waiting for me to listen? And maybe this is the moment when something clicks, when you realize that thinking about change isn't the same as stepping into it. There comes a time when clarity doesn't arrive before action, but through it. For Libra, a sign that thrives in weighing, balancing, and perfecting, the urge to wait just a little longer can be both comforting and paralyzing. But right now, the energy around you is calling not for more reflection, but for decisive movement. Not for perfect plans, but for brave beginnings. The Knight of Swords doesn't knock gently. He bursts through the door with focus and conviction. This card doesn't ask you to be reckless, it simply invites you to stop second-guessing every instinct. If you've been thinking about launching a new project, sending the proposal, speaking your truth, or applying for something that feels just out of reach, this is the time to move. Bold action doesn't require complete certainty, it requires momentum. Let this be your reminder that action creates evidence. You won't know what works until you try. And hesitation won't protect you from failure, it only delays success. When the world shows up, it's a signal that a cycle has run its course. You've learned what you needed to learn from this chapter. The things that used to challenge you have become familiar. The patterns that once kept you safe have begun to feel restrictive. This isn't a punishment, it's a promotion. When a season ends, it's not a sign you've done something wrong. It means you're ready for something more. There's no need to mourn the ending when you're being invited into something so much greater. This is your cue to close the loop with grace, take the lesson, and carry the strength forward. Then comes the Ace of Swords, sharp, brilliant, and refreshing. This is not just an idea, it's a breakthrough. It could be a conversation that shifts your perspective, a new contract or job opportunity, or even a sudden realization that cuts through mental clutter like a blade. Aces represent beginnings, but they also require acceptance. You have to be willing to say yes to the insight, yes to the chance, yes to yourself. The universe can only give what you are open to receive. According to the law of attraction, what you focus on expands. But there's a second, often forgotten part of that truth. Focus must be followed by faithful action. You can dream of a new life, script it out in your journal, visualize it every morning, but if you're not taking even the smallest aligned step, the energy remains static. The river of abundance is always flowing. The question is, are you stepping into it, or just watching from the edge? This is where grace meets effort. As someone once wisely said, faith without works is dead. That's not a commandment, it's an invitation. It means the miracles you're waiting for are often waiting on you, too. You're not meant to hustle endlessly. But you are meant to respond. To rise. To make that phone call. To say yes. To speak up. To invest in the version of you that's already knocking at the door of your own future. And it doesn't have to be grand. Sometimes, the bravest action is a small one. Sending the message. Signing up for that class. Asking the question you've been afraid to ask. Even organizing your space to make room for what's next is a statement, I'm ready. So today, Libra, don't just dream it. Don't just plan it. Don't wait for permission. The energy is already on your side, but it needs a partner in you. What will you do today, not tomorrow, not next week, to honor what you say you're ready for? Drop it in the comments below. You might be surprised how powerful one clear step can be. When we think of progress, we often imagine bold steps, loud declarations, and constant motion. But sometimes, the most transformative growth happens in stillness, in those quiet spaces where you finally give yourself permission to slow down, to breathe, to be. And this is where your journey continues now, Libra, not by rushing forward, but by softening inward. The appearance of temperance is a gentle but profound message. Balance is not just something to achieve, it's something to embody. You may have been pushing hard, constantly trying to figure it all out, and yet the answers you seek aren't necessarily waiting in another plan or decision. They may be waiting in your ability to pause, to restore, to trust in timing that doesn't belong to a calendar, but to your soul. And that's where the Four of Swords gently settles in. This isn't a warning of defeat, but a sacred invitation to rest, to allow your nervous system to recalibrate and your mind to declutter. Sometimes we mistake resting for falling behind, but real rest is preparation. It's the invisible groundwork of clarity. When you slow down with intention, you become more receptive to solutions that couldn't reach you through the noise of activity. You begin to notice ideas that feel aligned, not forced. You allow your body to catch up to the vision your heart already sees. The next card in this healing sequence, the Star, brings with it a quiet sense of hope, the kind that doesn't shout, but glows. It's a reminder that even after setbacks, delays, or disappointment, light always finds a way back in. If you've experienced financial uncertainty, creative blocks, or emotional fatigue around your sense of purpose, the Star says, begin again, gently. It's not about pretending nothing hurt, it's about believing there's still something beautiful on the way. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens in tiny choices that feel ordinary in the moment, but powerful over time. Drinking more water. Saying no without guilt. Replacing self-criticism with one kind word. Choosing a nourishing meal over something quick and empty. These are small acts of repair that rebuild your foundation from the inside out. And when it comes to actual energy support, your body is a vessel, and like any vessel, it holds more when it's balanced. Magnesium and iron aren't just nutrients, they're tools that help you sustain emotional steadiness, clarity of thought, and endurance when life stretches you thin. A warm bath with pink Himalayan salt isn't indulgent, it's a ritual of release. Gentle yoga and breathwork aren't luxuries, they're ways of returning to center when the outside world asks too much. Even colors can help anchor you. Pale jade green soothes the mind and heart, offering emotional openness and peace in times of transition. Soft blush pink reminds you that love for yourself, for the process, for the unknown is a magnetic force. Money and opportunities flow more freely not from stress, but from a state of receptive love. That's not spiritual fluff, it's a natural principle of resonance. And in moments like these, I like to recall one simple piece of wisdom I carry deep in my heart: that peace is not the absence of movement, but the presence of trust. You don't have to know how it will all work out to believe that it will. Trust doesn't require guarantees, just willingness. When you show up with an open heart, even at your most uncertain, you create space for life to meet you halfway. So if you've been pushing, striving, overanalyzing, let this be your permission to soften. To trust that pausing is progress. To know that real success isn't just what you build, but how you feel while building it. Your healing isn't a detour, it's part of the map. And this gentle recalibration you're entering now? It's preparing you for something bigger than you can yet imagine. There's something deeply powerful about realizing that your worth has never been tied to anyone else's recognition of it. And Libra, this part of your journey is about exactly that: reclaiming your place at the table, not because someone finally invited you, but because you were always meant to sit there. This energy now asks you to step into a more grounded version of your value, not in theory, but in how you live, work, earn, and relate. The King of Pentacles arrives when it's time to embody security, not just seek it. He doesn't chase approval or validation, he leads with quiet certainty. His success is not only financial but energetic. He knows his worth and builds his world from that place. If you've ever felt overlooked, underpaid, or undervalued, this card is not just a prediction, it's a mirror. It reminds you that you don't need to wait for external permission to level up. You can begin making choices today that reflect how deeply you respect your own journey. And the more you commit to that truth, the more the world will rise to meet it. In partnership or collaboration, the lovers show up to remind you that the right connections, whether romantic, professional, or creative, are not meant to confuse or drain you. They're meant to amplify your strengths. This could be a moment when you align with someone who shares your values and visions, someone who doesn't need to be convinced of your potential because they already see it. But before that person appears, the universe often asks, have you seen it in yourself yet? That's why this is also a season for clarity, not just about money, but about agreements. If you're in a relationship, it's time to talk about shared goals, expectations, and long-term plans. If you're single, pay attention to new people entering your life, especially those who speak openly about responsibility, dreams, and impact. Love is more than emotion right now, it's collaboration. It's building something of value, together. The Three of Wands comes as a confirmation. You've already done the work, made the moves, planted the seeds. Now, you're not starting from scratch, you're expanding. This is about waiting with intention, not idleness. You're not hoping something will arrive. You're preparing for it. The energy here invites you to think beyond where you've been. Can you visualize yourself receiving at a higher level? Can you organize your world in a way that's ready to welcome more? This is a beautiful moment to evaluate how your surroundings reflect your vision. Do you speak about money with love or fear? Do you track your wins or overlook them? Do you celebrate what's already thriving, or only focus on what's missing? Sometimes, shifting the emotional relationship we have with success is the final key to unlocking it more freely. And if a part of you still hesitates to believe that you're worthy of more ease, more support, more prosperity, remind yourself of this simple truth. You are the steward of your own life. No one else can make the choices that align you with abundance. Others may walk with you, collaborate with you, even uplift you, but they can't hand you what only you can claim. And yes, it may feel uncomfortable to declare that you are ready for better. But you were not created to live in lack. You were designed for balance, growth, and contribution, not from pressure, but from purpose. So let the colors around you reflect the state you want to embody. Surround yourself with soft yellow for confidence and clarity, mint green for flow and mental freshness, milky white for peace and purity of intention. And if numbers have been showing up lately, 3, 6, 9, or 28, pay attention. These are not just coincidences. They are messages. Reminders that you're not behind. That the cycle you're stepping into is not luck, it's alignment. You've come far enough to know that your value doesn't depend on applause. But you've also come far enough to stop playing small. This is the part where you take your seat and take up space, not to prove anything, but to finally live in the truth of what you've always known. You are ready. And maybe now, Libra, it's finally safe to stop waiting. Maybe this is the moment when something inside you no longer feels the need to delay the life you know you were meant to live. You've spent so much time holding space for others, creating peace in the chaos, and being the gentle balance in rooms that were spinning. But now, just now, the universe is asking you to hold that same space for yourself. Throughout this reading, you've been given signs, confirmations, and reflections, not of who you should be, but of who you already are when you're not overthinking, overgiving, or overcomplicating what you deeply know to be true. You've seen the cues, the shift from hesitation to decision, from scarcity to receptivity, from dreaming into doing. You've been called to take aligned action, to allow stillness for renewal, and most importantly, to stand tall in your own value. And I know that for someone like you, someone who wants harmony, fairness, and clarity, the idea of choosing yourself first might feel unfamiliar. But the truth is, choosing yourself is not selfish. It's sacred. Especially now, when new opportunities are forming just beyond what's comfortable. Especially now, when the life you've imagined isn't just a vision, it's a vibration that's already circling your energy field, waiting for you to meet it halfway. So I invite you to take a breath and ask yourself, what would change if I stopped waiting? If I trusted that the version of me who feels called to grow is already strong enough to begin? Can you feel how close it is, the idea, the opportunity, the shift? And can you also feel that it doesn't need to be perfect? That small, aligned steps are just as powerful as bold leaps. You don't need to have every answer today. You only need to say yes to your readiness. That's how momentum begins. That's how transformation happens, not through force, but through quiet, loving permission. So as you move into the rest of your day, I encourage you to stay close to that feeling, the one that opened up as you listened. Let it guide you into action, into reflection, into change. And don't keep it to yourself, this is your space, too. Drop a comment below and let me know, what are you claiming today? What does choosing your value look like in your world right now? If you feel called, write these words below as a powerful affirmation: I choose my worth. I say yes to my abundance. Your words matter. Your choices ripple. And your story is far from finished. Before we close, let me say this with my whole heart: thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your energy, your presence, your willingness to reflect and grow with me today. Every like, every comment, every subscription you offer is not just a gesture, it's a bond. It's how you stay connected to this space, to this growing circle of souls who are stepping into alignment together. And I promise you, here on Zodiac Whisper Tarot, this is more than a reading. It's a journey. It's a remembering. So if today's message resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone else who needs a gentle push toward their own breakthrough. The more we amplify these messages, the more light we send out into the world. Libra, your abundance isn't out of reach. It's already knocking. All that's left is for you to open the door. Until next time, stay open, stay grounded, and above all, stay true to you. I'll see you soon.